was coming in pitched up, have it, bit more cracking, smack out, cracking, spin back, have it. Yeah. And it's just bringing a bit more gritty and a bit more energy to something that I felt needed speed on it.
It's a lifestyle garage, and you could see someone who was into it.
That is made in the UK, yeah, that's made in the garage, as they say.
When they go home, they've got money in their pockets, it's like, you know, do you want to take our money or not?
Back in the day, 90s, 91, 92, there's a lot of people that were out partying, and after parties started at people's flats.
Some of the US garage was born out of the disco music and was very soulful disco, lots of live instruments and live strings, cutting stuff up and making it rougher, and the beats were a bit skippier and the basses were heavier.
You were there with the crowd, you know, you could reach out and touch them. There was no ego there, it was just dancing and passionately into the music, and I was as well, and I would just breathe.
It used to be really early in the morning and anything went within reason. Again, a family environment where people could go down there, meet up with other people, talk about the night they'd had before.
The Tough Jam sound can only be identified as raw, with musical elements, with a club feel.
The sound had just started to break away from us playing US music to now playing music that was produced here in the UK.
I'm the one with the lyrical flow to make your mind blow. Creed on the mic, how you like the beginning.
Good Rhymes was the first record where we had like a UK garage backbeat and full MCing all over the track.
When I saw on Top of the Pops, Creed with the bowler hat on, I was like, that's garage. That's exactly how we dress, that's exactly what we do.
We had somewhere to be, that we belonged, that was ours. It was that feeling. Getting ready to go out to garage was almost like a rave in itself.
People definitely made an effort with their outfits.
You couldn't turn up in a rave wearing jeans and trainers, are you mad?
If you didn't have your Patrick Cox on and certain shoes and certain footwear on, you weren't getting into no garage rave.
Moschino and
Versace,
Gucci, fresh and dapper. As you're walking down the road, you'll hear boom, boom, boom.
I wanted to bring ragga, soul, hip hop to garage, and that's what made the So Solid sound. We had our own raves because most of the other promotions didn't want to book us. They didn't like the Rude Boys and Bad Boys stepping into that.
Can't mention UK garage without mentioning the Coliseum. That was the home of UK garage. I remember when I saw Craig David do Rewind. I literally lived in that club.
If I had to sum up UK garage with one record, it would need to be a vocal-led record.
Craig David Rewind. You've got Little Bit of Luck.
I'm gonna say Battle.
Ooh, wicked.
A record that encapsulates the vibe of UK garage. It's absolutely stood the test of time.
People love garage, they love it. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but they love it.
Do you really like it? Is it wicked? We're loving it like that.
It's like we touched something in people's souls, man, you know what I mean? I don't know how we did that, but we did.
But the Sunday scene was where it was really sort of instigated, I believe. There were the Arches, and then the Gas started. We started Friday night at the Gas Club.
So it was like, okay, what are we going to call it? You know, and the scene was quite, although it was quite peaceful, it was still quite a strong scene, you know, because the guys were all quite, you know, they're all known dudes and they're all quite physical and aggressive and stuff, you know. So it's like, okay, let's try and take it away from that aggression and create something that's just going to be really light and fun. And so, Spread Love Project.
When you listen to garage, that can't come from nowhere else. You think that can come from America? You think that can come from Germany? France? It's British, it can't come from nowhere else.
We are uniquely very multicultural. All these kids of different countries, parents coming here and everyone growing up kind of together, you have all this influence.
And I then think we become influenced by each other a lot more than we realise.
Pow!
especially coming from the northern scene where people take pride in looking good at raves. Back in the day, it was all about being clean and sharp, and that's still part of the culture now. Whether you're repping old school brands or bringing a new twist to it, it's about expressing your vibe. For me, it's not about flexing brands, it's about showing love to the culture and feeling confident in your own space. Yeah, 100%. UKG is being polished up and served to people who don't know about the culture behind it. It's not necessarily a bad thing to want to reach more people, but when the message gets watered down just to go viral or sell tickets, the deeper meaning gets lost. Garage was never made for the mainstream. It became popular because it was authentic. That energy can't be faked or manufactured, and trying to repackage it often strips away what made it powerful in the first place. What's missing is the connection. The early nights had this unpredictable buzz. You didn't know what track was coming next, who was jumping on the mic, or how the crowd was going to react. It felt alive. Now everything's more structured. DJ sets are pre-planned, the visuals are synced, and the crowd's filming instead of dancing. There's less space for magic to happen in the moment. That intimacy is what I think we need to bring back. The fashion, the codes, the way people used to move, it's all being flattened into trends. UKG had its own language, its own identity that came from working class communities. It wasn't just about the sound, it was how people dressed, spoke and carried themselves. That's getting lost in translation when the culture's lifted without context. Definitely, everybody's too busy trying to capture the moment instead of living it. You used to go to a rave and remember how it felt, not what it looked like on your phone. Now people wait for the drop just to film it, and the vibe can feel disconnected. There's less eye contact, less movement, less energy being passed around the room. That's the part that needs protecting. UKG was always about being present, locking in with the music and the people around you. We've got to find ways to bring that back. That said, I do think there's a positive side that people don't always talk about. Phones have kind of become how part of the culture spreads now. Just like pirate radio used to broadcast the sound to people who couldn't be there, now you've got clips and crowd videos giving people a real glimpse into the vibe of a night. For some younger heads, that's their first connection to the UKG. They see a clip, hear a tune and get curious. It can be a gateway. And for DIY scenes and smaller events, phones help document what's going on and give underground movements visibility. So it's not all bad, it's just about balance. If you're using your phone to capture and share something genuine, cool. But if it's taking you out of the moment, that's when it becomes a problem.
I was mainly inspired by Neville Brody, especially his work with the Face magazine and the way it didn't just design for music scenes. He blended music, fashion and culture, and graphic identity into one visual language. He broke traditional design rules with bold typography, chaotic layouts and raw expressive visuals that reflected the underground sound and scene. His authentic documentary-style photography captured DJs and artists in natural, unposed moments, making them feel connected and relatable. The Face featured a mix of short interviews and deep dives covering music, fashion, club culture and social movements, alongside personal stories and event coverage. The language was raw, direct and rooted to the scene, something I aim to replicate in my own magazine to keep it connected to the culture. Brody's anti-corporate, punk-influenced approach showed that design could be more than visual. It could be cultural commentary. That DIY rebellious energy mirrored the aesthetic of UK garage, gritty, unpolished and real. It matched the lo-fi style of the old flyers that I'd been studying. As art director of The Face, Brody helped define the visual language of subculture like UKG and jungle, connecting them with fashion and giving them visibility before they were mainstream. He didn't just document scenes, he amplified them. That ethos shaped my own approach, designing to represent culture honestly while keeping the roots visible. Started by looking at music design broadly, record sleeves, flyers and album art, then narrowed it to UKG and surrounding genres like jungle and grime. I noticed a shared visual language, bold, gritty, raw and DIY. One recurring element was the use of monotone characters, simple but iconic and recognisable. That inspired me to create my own character, reflecting the rude boy energy of UKG. Silver tooth, earring and a bucket hat. I styled him with a new wave twist, blending nostalgia with modern streetwear. Unlike the old branding, this felt authentic and connected. To support the aesthetic, I experimented with type. Chandler 42 gave a handmade raw, rough edge aesthetic, and Chivo Monio, which offered a mechanical garage feel, mirroring its roots. Born in the late 90s, home studios shaped by digital tools like samplers and doors, with a chopped up sound and a clean, functional fashion aesthetic. I tested layouts with type alone to ensure clarity and flexibility. While researching record sleeve design and vinyl culture, I shot a friend's collection. This led to the DJ Picks page, a repeatable feature celebrating physical media and the personality behind the music. After speaking with Richard from Asbro magazine, who stressed that a good mag should be modular and accessible, I adapted the layout, spreading the pics across issues rather than listing them all in one place. That idea captured into my event documentation at the Vinyl Whistle captured a small kitchen-style night, tight space, intimate crowd, real sound. It inspired a flyer shaped by the DJ's vision, a proper kitchen party, just like the good old days. I used visual cues like pizza boxes, recycled textures and plastic cups to build that vibe. The flyer format became something repeatable, each one designed around the event and its energy. Richard also reminded me that a strong mag tells stories, so each flyer became more than a promo. It involved the DJs and fans, and became something they would want to keep, collect and share. I refined the flyer's print setup, adjusted bitmap and text weight for clarity when printing, and plan to release 3 digital versions to grow instant market for the mag, which was another idea from Richard. My wider promotional work included lo-fi handmade lino prints, laser cut stencils, barcode cards and nostalgic Match Attack style DJ cards. I also made t-shirt, wearable branding that tied into the visual identity of the scene. One standout was the masking tape designed for a t-shirt release. Inspired by the DIY rave culture and knockoff designs I spotted on the old flyers and record sleeves, it referenced the taped down wires of rig and flyers taped up walls. Just trying to get the message out there, whichever means possible. Quick, scrappy and essential. Just like UKG itself, it became a metaphor of garage's blend of genres. Even printing mistakes like failed screen prints were embraced. I reprinted over them with improved screens, slightly off-center to create a motion blur effect. Mimic the energy and movement of a rave, or the haze of being slightly waved. Nothing polished, just loud, real and rooted. I also designed my own flyer, drawing inspiration from the bold, fast, lo-fi aesthetic of the original UK Garage promo. Influenced by rough, photocopied flyers of the 90s, I kept that raw energy but reworked it for a new generation, mixing hand-drawn elements with clean fonts, neon riso printing, and vector graphics to bridge the past and the present. The look was modernized, but the process stayed true to its DIY roots. I then animated over the flyer, turning it into an interactive motion piece used for degree show visuals and Instagram reels, blending the traditional print design with digital platforms. It was my way of nodding to the old while speaking to the new, staying rooted in the culture while pushing it forward.